week 9 of the high school baseball season here in Illinois, and it's week 7 for the IHSA podcast here on Prep Baseball Illinois. I'm Joe Sullivan alongside the whole crew here in Illinois. Gavin Smith, Diego Solares, Tyler Deffabaugh, and Peter Hammett. And it's good to be back, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Yeah, good, Joe. What's up, man? How you been?
Good, doing well. It's that time of year, right? Some of the most exciting time for high school baseball. Obviously, getting down to the stretch for the end of conference play, where teams are battling it out in their area, and leading up to playoff time, where it's all going to come down to the wire. Super exciting stuff, and we got a lot to get into. And we'll touch a little bit on our pitcher of the week last week, Connor Essenberg, a big two-way guy for Lincoln Way West. He had a great week, obviously at the plate, but really on the mound.
Yeah, and it was at that game. He's kind of out right now, so he's not able to talk a ton. But I mean, he had a no-hitter going into that 7th inning. I believe there was 2 outs, and he gave up his hit, and just a really good performance for him. He had 13 strikeouts through 6.2 innings, so got pitcher of the week. Essenberg's been, to my knowledge, dominant for Lincoln Way West all season, and I mean they're still undefeated. I think they're up to number three in the state now is what we got them at. Is that right, guys?
Yep.
But yeah, Essenberg's been dominant, not only on the mound but at the plate too. So good for Essenberg. Big week for him.
And Lincoln Way West previously was not even in our rankings preseason. Got all the way up to number 3, still undefeated. They got a big conference game today as they'll take on Lincoln Way Central at their place. I believe it's a 4:30 start. So a big game for 2 of those teams and kind of a rivalry game. So interesting to see. As far as the top 25 teams, we stay the same at number 1 and 2. Obviously, Nazareth, we talked to Coach Milano last week in a great interview with Gavin and Pete. But for the Roadrunners, a 3-0 week, obviously continue to be undefeated. They actually entered our national rankings at number 23. So a big week for them. And Joliet Catholic, 4-0 week for them as well, staying at 23 and 2 at the number 2 spot in our Power 25. And Graham Russell was really a key factor for them this week in a big week at the plate.
Yeah, he went 2 for 3, had 2 RBIs and scored a run in their win over DGN, which we got them. They're a Power 25 team, and that's just a good game for him. Good game for Russell there.
Honestly, and not that this necessarily affects their regular season schedule. It might, just based on who you schedule, but the most impressive part of the starts those 2 teams are off to is that they're both jumping up classification. Naz 3A last year, they're playing 4A now. They've yet to lose a game this season. Joliet Catholic, back-to-back 2A state champs, they bump up to 3A. Now, regardless of what class they were last year, those 2 teams still played tough schedules, but to see that they're going to be playing up in the postseason and they're already rolling, it gives those 2 clubs in particular plenty of momentum with the playoffs a week or 2 away.
Yeah, and actually talking to Coach Milano about that, just the way that they approach their games, they don't really care that they're at 4A now. Like they look at it the same. They just go about their business the same way that they would if they were 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. It's just 1 inning at a time, 1 pitch at a time, and they got a great mentality going into their games, and they're definitely going to be a tough team to beat because of the way that they approach those games for sure. And I mean, they obviously have a very talented team too. So yeah, big start for Naz, 28-0.
Yeah, and then St. Charles North in at number 11. They've just been steadily climbing all year. I mean, it's an older team. They have both of the Ryan Key brothers who are both very talented. Off of a 4-0 week from last week, they're 23-1 now. They were just a team that really didn't climb a whole bunch at the beginning of the year just because they didn't get to play that many games the first couple weeks, just when we were having typical Midwest Illinois weather. So they're off to a really good start.
Yeah, and taking a look at going into number 17 in our rankings, St. Rita at 20-8. This is a program, obviously, that plays in a tough league in the CCL. But at the end of the year, they always find a way to compete for a title. And for them, obviously, Sir Jameson Jones, a big prospect, was at our Super 60. He had a great week at the plate, as well as Anthony Sorrow, who went 2 for 3 in a big game and a big win over Providence. But a good program in St. Rita. Obviously, those 8 losses come with a tough schedule and figuring out their best baseball at the end of the year in the right time.
I've seen St. Rita once this year. I've also seen Joliet Catholic a couple times, and honestly, St. Rita reminds me of JCA just with how their lineup battles. They don't give away a single at bat. They're going to make the opposing pitcher work their tails off to get them out, and they feel that their pitchers fill the zone too. Throw strikes. They're not. I don't know that they have a big strikeout guy on that entire staff. They're guys that just go out there, throw strikes, and let their defense work. So it's a recipe for success that's obviously working right now, and they're like you said, they're getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, and normal U High, like they're not ranked. We don't have them ranked. Kind of a team that we talked about potentially getting in this week. But I mean, they played 7 games this week. Not many teams will play 7 games in a week, and they went 7-0 on the week, and they beat Normal Community. Gavin Swartz was on the mound in that game, and he had a good game. They're just a really talented team, and they're a prospect-heavy team too, and they're a younger team. I've kind of mentioned that before. They have not a lot of 24s in their lineup. It's a lot of 25s, 26s in their lineup. So they're going to be a team that I think will, in the Central Illinois area at least, be one next year to kind of keep an eye on as well, who could potentially be in that Power 25 to start the season. But in their game or in their win against Community, Lawson Schickel is a 2025 that did well, and he had a 2 RBI single to give U High the lead. And he finished the day 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. And then Charlie Veracruz, he was 3 for 4 with a home run, a double, and an RBI in that game. And then I have actually seen U High previously in the week. They had a doubleheader on Monday night. They played Moline and Springfield. And Veracruz, again, I've seen them multiple times this year, and Veracruz just continues to impress. I mean, he's a Notre Dame commit. He does what you would expect. He's a good defender up the middle, athletic kid. Just his build, too. It looks like there's more to come and more strength to be added. But he had a good game or a good day at the plate, too, when I saw him. Just a good bat, solid bat. He finds ways to get hits. He's a good player. And then I got to see, so like I said, U High in Springfield as well. Devin Tupper pitched, and he's an Eastern Illinois commit. I've seen him a few times. He's been kind of hit or miss for me. But in this outing, this is without a doubt the best that I've ever seen him. He was 85 to 88, touched 89 multiple times. A lot of arm side run, and it's just a swing and miss fastball. And then his slider, it's just a big, sharp breaking slider at 77 to 80 miles an hour. He throws it hard, 2,300 RPM on it. He had 10 Ks and 9 innings pitched. It was a really good game. It was close throughout. I think U High scored 2 runs or 1 run in the bottom of the 7th to take it to extras. So a really good game. And then I saw Seth Impson too, who we all know pretty well. Seth's a good kid, but he, again, impressive on the mound. 84 to 86, touched 87 twice. Curveball was 74 to 77 miles an hour. Changeup was 76 to 79 miles an hour. Struck out 10, didn't walk anybody through 8 innings. And the thing that impressed me about him the most was not maybe his stuff on the mound, but more just the competitor that he is. He attacked the zone. He's just the type of kid that he gets out there, and you're confident that he's going to win the baseball game for you. He's not gonna let the other team beat him. He's just going to get outs, and that's what he did. And he threw 8 innings, like I said, and 10 strikeouts against a really good U High team.
Yeah, and one thing that when you take a look at this kind of part of the year, obviously U High over the past few years as a program just develops arms really well. And to go 7-0 during a week is incredibly impressive. Down the stretch come playoff time, obviously you're going to have to bounce around and find your guys and have depth in that pitching staff. And they've shown it really well and have really figured it out at this point of the season. And another team to do that is Lincoln Way East. Lincoln Way East was a team that obviously was in our Power 25 preseason. Had a rough start to the year, but Coach McCarthy and that squad has finally figured it out with a 3-0 week and are starting to get their offense rolling.
Yeah, and on top of that, right, like they started out 6-8 on the season. They're 17-9 now. They've won 11 of their last 12. Kind of like what we talked about with St. Rita. Playing your best ball at the end of the season is when you want to be playing your best ball. Sure, would it have been great for them to get off to a better start in the season? Sure. But now's the time when you want to get hot. They outscored their opponents this last week 34-4. So they're also limiting runs as well on the mound now. So that's a good recipe for success. And Tyler Bell's the guy there, All-American, going to Kentucky. Wouldn't be surprised. I don't think any of us on this golf. He's drafted in July this summer. So he was 7 for 11 last week with 2 bombs, a double, 7 RBIs, 8 runs scored, and a walk. So guy's just an impressive player. I think I speak for everyone on this podcast when I say that. So, but yeah, they're playing really good ball right now, and we'll keep following them for sure.
Take a look at 2A. Wilmington is obviously a competitor and a team definitely that could compete for a state championship. 21-1 this season. That is super impressive. Obviously 5-0 this past week, and just taking care of business.
Yeah, I mean Kyle Farrell, he's a 2025 for Wilmington. He threw 6 2/3 innings, allowed 2 hits, 3 walks, and struck out 10 in their 5-0 win over Piatone this week. So big performance for him. So kind of a guy, I mean, now just to kind of keep an eye on moving forward and checking out the rest of the spring on Game Changer and maybe getting a chance to see him in person. But one team that I wanted to talk about, we've talked about him quite a bit. Morton, they're 20-4. 4 in 1 week. They're one of the top teams in Central Illinois consistently. They always have good players, good athletes on their team. They've got a deep pitching staff this year, and their offense is going to score runs. This past week, they outscored their opponents 52-15. So really impressive week for the Potters, and I'm going to look to keep seeing them do well, I imagine, and I'll probably get another look at them this spring, probably later in May when they start playing Washington. That'll be a good matchup. So Morton's a good team. They got Ryan Schaffnet, uncommitted 2025. So a guy I want to get another look at for sure this spring.
And as we mentioned earlier, conference play really obviously starting to ramp up, and teams competing to try and take home that chip around the area. And with some of the Power 25 losses that we saw last week, number 4 Huntley, they were in at our number 4 spot in the rankings last week. Cary Grove beat them in a tight game in a really good matchup for conference play.
Yeah. Biggs, I know that probably pains you to see that Huntley going down 5-4 there, but I mean Cary Grove's they got a talented team too. So
yeah, and they have two really good arms at the top of that rotation with Ethan Dorches, who's going to UIC, and they also have Charlie Tazzy. So those 2 guys give them a shot to win every time out.
Yeah, and kind of moving past that, talking about Power 25 losses, Belleville West and Teutopolis both beat number 5 Edwardsville last week. Belleville West conference game, Southwestern Conference. Jake Stedman is a senior. Honestly, from a prospect perspective, more of a position guy, but threw the ball well for them in that win. 6 1/3 innings, punched out 8, walked 4, allowed a run on 5 hits in a 4-2 win over the Tigers. And then T-Town, which is a program that has a lot of history behind it. The Wooden Shoes for a long time were one of the best smaller school teams in the state. They came down to play in the K's versus Cancer tournament, I believe it's called, that Edwardsville hosts every single year. Edwardsville, Glenwood, and Highland play 3 games against each other on Friday and Saturday. And they showed up, man, in the morning slot. They beat Edwardsville 5-1. They held them to 1 hit. 2 sophomores. Austin Bories started. He was at our Southern Illinois preseason ID this winter. 5 innings, couple punchies, 1 hit, 1 walk, picked up the win. Big, strong kid. If I had to guess, probably 6'2", 195, maybe a little taller. Really pitching downhill, getting on top of the fastball in the low to mid-80s, touching 86 early on, and just spinning a real big bender that stays in the air for a while and falls off. Filled up the strike zone. I mean, it's not an easy lineup by any means. To go out there and hold them to 1 hit at their own home field is pretty impressive. And then out of the bullpen, they bring in Gavin Addis, who is a name that we were very not familiar with 6'3", probably 170, 175. Like most small town kids, also plays basketball, really good body. Comes out fiery, understands it's a big game, punches the first kid out, showing some emotion. Quick arm, was up to 85, pitched in the low 80s, spin a breaking ball. That's going to be a name to know. As he continues to get more physical and adds on weight and strength and continues to develop, those small town kids, they tend to pop when they get to 19, 20, 21 years old. So it's a big win for T-Town. They're having a good year. Again, it's a program that's always good. So it's good to see them come down and show out against one of the top teams in the state.
Yeah, and Deeks, we've had this conversation multiple times, but I think that is a great example, continues to be a great example as to how talented the teams down there are. There's just so many guys that pop up. They're a small school, and we don't maybe know a ton about them, but they just can go and shove it against Edwardsville. I think that just shows how talented that area is. And there's just constantly pop-up guys like that. Brandon Menser's another one at a small school. Like, a lot of talent down there for sure.
It's hard to miss. There's a different guy at every – we'll talk more when we get into our game recaps, but every time you find something down here, there's something worth seeing. So,
and taking a look at St. Lawrence, a team that has really had high expectations since the beginning of the year and has really met them. But a tough loss last week to Brother Rice in a conference matchup. That was a 2-1 loss where Danny Sheehan, the left-hander for the Crusaders, we saw him pitch in that state championship game last year. Only one strikeout through 6 innings, but he's really, really good at just getting soft contact for Brother Rice. So some unranked teams picking up some big wins this past week. Obviously, Minooka dropped 2 games against Plainfield North, which was a big sweep for them. That was an 8-6 and 5-3 win for Plainfield North. And Naperville Central also picking up a big win against what number last week, which was number 16 Lyons Township. Minooka dropping to number 16 after being number 10 in our Power 25 this past week. But we obviously, some teams dropping, moving all over the rankings. But we got some new teams in the Power 25, and a lot of them from Southern Illinois, and some teams that we really like and we've got some good looks at so far this season.
Yeah, so Joe, the first one, Morris are obviously the only or one of the only suburban teams here, Southwest Suburbs. They're coming in at number 18. They're 20-3. Had a 2-0 week with wins over Sycamore, and Sycamore is a talented group. They were in the Power 25, prior to losing to Morris twice. But Cody Del Favaro, he's a kid that we've seen produce at the plate and on the mound as well. But, in their 5-2 win over Sycamore, he threw a complete game with 8 strikeouts. And then at the plate, he went 2 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. So continuing to do what we've seen him do in the past. So big shout out to Cody Del Favaro there for that one.
I got to give love. New to the Power 25 this week, number 21, Hampshire, from the Fox Valley. The Whippers, they are on that's an 8-game win streak. They took down McHenry last week, who was in our Power 25. They beat a pretty good Conant team, 12-1. They picked up a good conference win against Burlington Central, 7-6. This is a deep roster, man. It's a program. It's a relatively new high school. I say that it's they've been around for a little bit, but there's talent up and down the roster. It starts with Anthony Karbowski, Louisville commit 2025 on the mound, had a great showing at the preseason All-State this winter. 0.88 ERA on the year. Right behind him is Callan Scheider, who is their catcher, but also pitches. He's got a .96 ERA on the bump this year, so there you go, 2 frontline guys. Wilson Wemhoff, a guy we saw this winter too. Physical kid, can swing it. He's kind of leading their offense, but will also pitch it and has some power stuff behind it. Dominic Barecki, 13 stolen bases, leads the team in on-base percentage. Winona State University signee there. They got some guys. They're pretty old. It's a roster, honestly, that's mostly made up of juniors with some seniors sprinkled in. So that's good for them now and next year. They went to state a couple of years back. Matt Jacek went to Indiana State. Now he's playing pro ball, led them to the state playoffs. So I've talked to a few coaches in the Valley that have said that, that they don't want to see Hampshire in the playoffs. When you have that 1-2 punch of arms at the top of the rotation, it's pretty scary. And that's a team that could easily make some noise once the postseason rolls around. And kind of parlaying that into our number 22 team, making their debut is the Highland Bulldogs, 23-2-1 on the year. They're coming off a 4-1 week. Their only loss was in the last game of that aforementioned tournament I talked about earlier against Edwardsville. They swept Civic Memorial in a conference set. They beat Glenwood, who was ranked, or who still is ranked, and they also took down Teutopolis. This is a team, they play in the Mississippi Valley Conference, which features Triad and Muscuda. Every year, it's pretty much those two teams and Highland. And honestly, once the playoffs rolls around and sectionals are done, I wouldn't be surprised if Highland is the last team standing. They have 3 legit arms. Chase Knable continues to make his all-state bid every time he toes the rubber. 6-0 on the year. He's given up 1 run in total, earned or unearned. That means that in the 37 to 30 innings he's pitched this year, only 1 base runner has crossed home. 0.19 ERA. 41 punch outs to 4 walks. I mean, it's a true ace, pitchability left-hander. Trent Clemens, 1.18 ERA in 41 2/3 innings. Believe he's signed to play baseball at Quincy next year. But I think the X factor for these guys is going to be Braxton Decker. He's a 2025. He just pitched for the first time this season, this weekend. We had seen him last year at the Illinois State Games and then again at one of our Southern Illinois fall tournaments. It is a super loose and easy arm. He throws from a 3/4 slot with natural, all kinds of run and sink. He was getting some pretty uncomfortable swings from the Glenwood hitters in his 2-inning stint this weekend. He'll spin a breaking ball. It's 85-87 on the fastball. If that guy's coming out of the bullpen for them in a key conference setting or in the playoffs, and just blows it out for 2 or 3 innings after Knable and Clemens, it's going to be real tough for guys to score runs on Highland. They don't beat themselves. They play really good defense. The top 5, 6, 7 guys in their lineup are all good hitters. Jake Ottensemeyer, we've talked about him. He plays center field. Trey Koischer is going to Swick. He starts at shortstop, couldn't really pick it. Garrett Stone is a physical third baseman, 2025, 6'4", 200, looks every bit of like a defensive end coming off the line. He's got juice, plays third base. Declan Riggs, left-handed back, can play first base for him. Keaton Favre behind the dish has an absolute cannon. They're strong up the middle. They can score runs in bunches. They can pitch the ball. All their guys throw strikes. This is a team with history behind it, too. They've won a couple state championships. They're extremely well coached. I would not be surprised if when the 3A state playoffs rolls around, Highland's playing at Joliet.
Making their first appearance in the Power 25 this year is St. Joseph Ogden. 5-0 week for them. They've won their last 17 games and only 2 losses on the season. They have been unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen them once this year. I think Deegs has seen them once at the Kickoff Classic, but I saw them beat U-High. I mean, they're just like one of those teams that they're just going to find ways to win. They're a 2A school in Central Illinois, kind of by Champaign, similar to Monticello. They're one of those really talented schools. The program's always good, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, whatever it is that they're playing. They're just an athletic program. They find ways to win. They're always successful. And this year looks no different. They've got guys that can play. They've got Luke Landris, who plays infield. He pitches for them. He catches for them. He's going to Illinois. He's a talented, athletic 2024. They just got guys that are going to find ways to win. Find ways to win at the plate. Find ways to win on the mound. Good defensively. They do it right.
I think you touched on it perfectly, man. There is a lot of history behind St. Joe Ogden. They've had a handful of good players come out of there. They are always competitive. There was a stretch there where they were playing for a trip in the super sectional to go to the 2A state playoffs, what seemed like every single year. They do it right, and they find ways to win. Honestly, it's no surprise, and it shouldn't be any surprise to anybody that they're 28-2, given what the track record with that team is.
Yeah, and a big week last week all across the state as far as arms goes. And we talk a little bit about some of our notable performances of the week. Really all starts with the southpaw from Wheaton Warrenville South and Drew Egger.
Yeah, so I want to give a little shout out to Carson Zellers. He's a Tri-County Conference kid, plays at Marquette Academy in Ottawa. He threw a complete game shutout with 12 strikeouts and allowed 7 hits in their 9-0 win over Seneca. And then Josh Vaughn, Illini Bluffs, he's going to Bradley. I mean, absolute dominant performance for him. He threw a perfect game with 21 strikeouts and a 1-0 win over Troy Christian.
Didn't he do something like that last year too when you saw him?
Yeah, I saw him twice last year, and I think he had 20 strikeouts, a 20 strikeout no-hitter. He's just a competitor. He dominates the teams that he's playing with a upper 80s, probably touching 90 with his fastball, and then he's got a banger slider too.
It's a big time get for the Bradley Braves. Kind of moving down our list of notable arms here. We got Brandon Menser. He talked about small town, Southern Illinois. Cesar Verlier. It's actually a co-op school. He plays for Waltonville. Saw him earlier in the spring. He's been to a few of our events. Very talented kid. Went complete game, 1 hit, 15 punch outs, and a 6-0 win. Joe Oswalt from Newman Central, 4 perfect innings, 10 Ks in 4 innings, so 10 of the 12 outs. Cameron Appenzeller, keeps boosting his stock. I hear something about this kid from a different person every single week. They beat Sacred Heart 4-0. He went 6 scoreless, 11 tickets, 2 hits, got the W. Also went 3 for 4 at the plate, so showing some versatility there from the long, lanky left-hander. And Owen Straw, Lake Zurich, 2025, 3 for 3, 2 bombs, 5 RBIs, and their 11-5 win over Lake Forest. Kind of put a bow on some of the top performers of the week. Turning the page here to our game recaps. Gav, Dunlap, Washington. Seemed like it was an eventful game. Nightcap in Central Illinois.
Yeah, so looking at this Dunlap Washington game, it was a chippy game, a lot of going back and forth between dugouts. Just a really competitive game between two conference matchups and two good teams at that. I got to see Davis Weeks, who's an uncommitted 2025. Really athletic mover. He's listed at 6 foot, 178 pounds. Really easy mover too. Clean, easy arm path. Not a ton of effort. His fastball, I saw him. He was relieving, so I didn't see a ton out of him. I think maybe an inning and 2/3 maybe. His fastball was 87 to 88 the entire time, but then when he got out of the stretch, it was like 85, 86, but he was still touching 87, 88, but consistently was just 87, 88 out of the windup. Had some arm side run. He mixed in a curveball at 74 to 75 and a changeup with fade at 77 to 78. But I think the thing that was most notable about him was just how easy he moves. We've seen him before, and the velo starting to tick up, which is a good sign for Davis. And then Carter Prina for Washington. He's an uncommitted 2025 that I personally had not heard of. I heard the name, but had never actually seen him in person. And he popped as an uncommitted name to know on the mound for us. Clean, athletic mover. Fastball was 82 to 86, touched 87 4 times. His curveball was 70 to 71, and then his changeup was 70 to 79. So a good look at Carter and kind of one to follow in the junior class now for Washington and out of Central Illinois. And then just another quick little mention is Eli McConaughey. I've talked about him before in the game that I saw Dunlap play a couple weeks ago, but he's a freshman, middle infielder, still showing really well defensively, good mover, athletic kid, and then at the plate, he barreled a double on the left side, and he's just one to watch for in that 2027 class.
I kind of touched on a few of the stuff I saw earlier this week, but kind of recapping the rest of it, Monday, Triad, or Mascoutah at Triad in the first of 2 games in the Mississippi Valley set. They'd end up splitting. Mascoutah won the first game 5-0, the one that I was at. Just got to chalk it up to Austin Musso yet again. I feel like I've seen him a good amount this spring. We've talked about him basically every other podcast. But honestly, this was the best I've ever seen him. It wasn't the loudest his stuff has been. He was up to 93 his first time out this spring, but complete game shutout in a huge game against a conference rival. 2 hits allowed, a walk, 6 punchies, upper 80s, touched 91 a few times in the first inning, held upper 80s. It's a high spin, a high carry fastball that holds plane, puts it wherever he wants on either corner of the plate. And if we're talking off-speed feel, like some of the best off-speed feel you'll find in the entire state. Throws a slider on the glove side corner, lands a high arcing low 70s curveball for strikes whenever he wants. Pretty impressive performance there. Brady Kuhn opposed him for triad. They did lose the game, but not to Brady's fault. He threw really well, 1 earned run, 6 innings pitched, upper 80s, touched 90s, super quick arm, throws a pretty hard breaking ball in the upper 70s. It touched 80 one time. Athletic kid going SIUE that can do it both ways, but ultimately his future may end up on the mound where I think he'll comfortably be pitching in the low 90s by the time he's a sophomore in college. Made the trip down to Valmeyer on Tuesday to catch some 1A action. Luke Blackwell, 2026 arm to know for Valmeyer. Strong physical kid, really, really looks the part in a uniform. Also a basketball player. 6 innings, an earned run, 5 hits, 13 tickets, 3 walks, and a win. He didn't throw a fastball under 87 miles an hour until the 5th inning. It was 87, 89, or 87, 89 the whole game, essentially. Didn't really have to go to the slider a whole lot. When he did show it, it was firm, upper 70s with some subtle tilt to it. But it's a good body, an intentful mover. The arm works. It comes out good on the front side. Definitely a name to know there. That should be climbing up our 26 rankings next time we update it. Behind the plate for them, Chase Snyder, a sophomore, catching Blackwell. Had no issues whatsoever. Soft receiver, flexible hips, gets around the baseball with average arm strength. And he did not have a hit in this game, but he uncorked some foul balls down the left field line that were, 1, barely foul, and 2, had they been fair, would have comfortably cleared the left field wall. A strong, fast, physical, right-handed swing will be a sophomore to follow down there for the Pirates. Thursday afternoon took in one of the craziest games I've ever been to. Father McGivney and St. Anthony Effingham. Father McGivney won 6-5 in extra innings, or 7-6, sorry, on a walk-off single to right field by Isaac Wendler, as it was basically pitch black outside. Couple strong performances. Wendler finished with 3 hits, including the game winner. I thought Cannon Camp, who is an uncommitted left-handed hitter for Father McGivney, took some excellent at-bats. They tied the game in the bottom of the 7th after Connor Repke hit a homer, after Effingham St. Anthony scored a run in the top of the 6th, and Camp took a phenomenal at-bat. He must have spoiled 7 or 8 pitches before drawing a walk. It was really impressive. He's really hitterish at the plate. You kind of get the vibe that he's going to get a hit every time he steps up to take his hacks. Really good looking left-handed hitter there for the Griffins. And then Connor Repke, a catcher going to Swick for Effingham St. Anthony, launched the at-bat prior. He hit a ball that was the left fielder for Father McGivney robbed a homer. It would have been a homer. It was a pretty good play. And then the next at-bat in the top of the 11th to give them the lead, he hits one over the scoreboard. Real juice, can really throw it behind the plate too, going to Swick. It's a name to know. And then we kind of touched on, I talked on T-Town. I talked on Highland. I got to give some love to 2 Edwardsville Tigers, 3 Edwardsville Tigers, actually. Tony Eberlin, TCU commit, threw the ball well for them in a win over Chatham, 7 Ks, 5 innings pitched, 1 run allowed. 85-87, the separator for him is he throws a hard upper 70s breaking ball. He'll throw wherever he wants in any count to any hitter. Continues to get more in sync and trending up in that direction. Lucas Krebs, who has left more than a positive impression on me multiple times this spring. One of the top uncommitted middle infielders in the state of Illinois, 2025, hitting .384 with a .521 on base percentage this spring for the Tigers. Had 3 hits, including a triple off the wall on Saturday. The biggest takeaway for me with him this spring has been his defensive abilities. Kind of going into this year, I couldn't have told you that he was going to be a guy that's stuck on the left side of the infield at the next level. After seeing him play now several times this spring, whether it's on turf or on dirt, I can get on here and comfortably tell you that I think he's a shortstop in college. It's a free, easy mover. He's got a huge, huge arm, really gets around the baseball, trusts his hands, comfortable on the move, can pick it to up the middle or to his backhand and make any throw accurately from multiple arm angles. That's a guy that should continue to garner plenty of attention collegiately until he obviously makes his decision on where he's going to play at the next level. And then Grayson Rathgeb, touched on him a handful of times. Another kid that continues to get better. You know, if you only looked at the overall stats and the box score for Edwardsville, you wouldn't be wowed by the spring he's having. But mechanically, his swing is much more in rhythm. It's much looser. He creates natural lift through the baseball. Double to right center field against Glenwood on Friday night. It's a kid that can really go get it in center field. He's got big arm strength. He can throw off platform and still get it in accurately. That's a guy that, and I think I've mentioned this a few times this spring, but he has gotten incrementally better in the last 12 months, and the body is right, and it still has room to put on 20 to 25 pounds of muscle easily. So that's a guy that should continue to keep trending up, as Edwardsville should be one of the better teams down the stretch, playing deep into the playoffs like they always do.
And at this point in the season, it feels like teams really figure out who their guys are, right? And they figure out their identity as a squad. And when you bring up the conference play and some of the end of the year tournaments, it gives them opportunities to clash and compete and see where they're at compared to teams around the area. And not only that, but other competitors across the state that they could match up with in playoff time. And two of the big games that we saw last week were Providence versus Brother Rice and Morris versus Sycamore. Two games in two environments that really give you that sectional final feel. And it's something that, whether it's conference or rivalry, like at this point in the year, you just feel that the playoffs are coming and teams are ready to go at that stage where they're ready to compete and try and take home some trophies.
Yeah, Joe, you nailed it there. I mean, Chicago Catholic Blue, it's one of the best conferences in the state, and it's different when you go to watch it. It's like you said, it's a playoff atmosphere every single time. It's going to be good baseball every game, and there's dudes everywhere. Like I caught, like you said, Providence and Brother Rice. It was a back and forth game. Providence ended up winning on a walk-off infield single from Jackson Smith. He just beat it out down the line. But there were some big moments. Like Aiden Ohava had a big swing, bases clearing double to tie the game in the top of the seventh inning. And then, yeah, it was just back and forth. There's dudes everywhere, though. Like Jackson Smith, he came away probably the biggest winner for me. He's only, I shouldn't say only, he's 6 foot, 175 pounds. So there's plenty of room there. He can get, keep developing throughout college. I think he's a dude that has a chance to play some pro ball when it's all said and done, just the way the swing works, his speed. Like I have at a 4.3 down the line. Bat to ball skills are really good. He's got good awareness for the strike zone. And I really like his actions on the infield. And they got other dudes down that lineup too. Like Mitch Volts had a good day. He was 2 for 2 with a double. Sammy Atkinson, he's a sophomore for them. He was just someone that was taking really solid at bats all game. I think he had a double. Yeah, he was 1 for 3 with a double and 2 runs scored. But he was getting his A swing off consistently, like fouling balls straight back, like taking big hacks. Like the dude wasn't scared. I really liked that presence. And then Cooper Eggert, of course, he continues to look the part in front of us. I think he had a backspin single up the middle, super loose and easy swing. Also had an RBI and a run scored. Nathan O'Donnell started for him that game. He worked up to 87, and was cruising mostly 85, 86. And he's a Creighton commit. We brought him to the future games. He can swing it from the right side also. He had a couple barrels on the day. He was 1 for 2. Also had a line out to left. And then Brother Rice, they had quite a few guys I liked as well, starting with freshman Brady Cunningham. Super easy, simple swing. Very little perceived effort. Sees spin. He battles. Really quality pitch selection. Like it's a very mature presence in the box, especially considering he's only a freshman. And then Gavin Triesenberg. I mean, you're just not really going to find many guys that size, 6'3", 200 pounds, that move around shortstop like he does, at least at this age. It's super, super soft hands. Glove to hand works really good. He's got good timing through the ball. He can play on the move. And he also was 2 for 3 on the day with a double, an RBI, and a run scored. And he actually got hit with a curveball in the head and then immediately stole first pitch when he made it to first base. So against a premium catch and throw backstop as well, like someone that really doesn't get ran on very often. So I just thought that was kind of cool. Like the dude's just a gamer. And then moving to Jackson Botanic, I mean, he always stands out for me in IO. He's got big time actions. Is super athletic. He can get up on the mound too, and he can really spin a good breaking ball. Throws, I think, upper 80s. And then Derek Holmes was DHing. I like the swing. He was 1 for 3 with a double and an RBI. Super twitchy, simple. He's pretty quick from launch. I just think that's going to be a swing that continues to play moving forward. But yeah, it was overall a ton of good looks, and can never complain going to watch some CCL Blue baseball. And then I went and caught Morris against number 23 Sycamore. It was actually a continuation of the game the night prior. So we picked up in the bottom of the first inning with no outs and a man on first. So still basically saw a whole game. Morris won 4-2. They were, let's see, they got ahead 2-0. A single from Zimmy Baftieri and a walk to Merritt Clicker put them up 2-0 in the first inning. And then Zimmy Baftieri hit a home run later in the game to add some insurance, made it 4-1 at the time. So he had a great day. I really like the way Zimmy moves around shortstop. Soft hands, moves well, and I really like the swing. Like I said, 2 for 3 with a home run, 3 RBIs and a run scored. Brett Bounds got to start. Whoa, that didn't come out good. I'll re-say that. Brett Bounds got the start. He went all 7 innings, just allowed 2 earned runs, no walks, and struck out 10. Now he's uncommitted 2025. He was cruising 80 to 83 all game. Like even into the 7th inning, he was still grabbing 82, 83. And he was going to a really good slider the whole game. He just competes, was filling up the zone. I was definitely a fan of him. And then Cody Del Favero, he was doing it both with the bat and in center field. He made a crazy, like over the shoulder, adjusting to the wind play, like just in front of the wall. It was one of the more impressive catches I've seen all year. And I just love the dude's swing, super flat, direct. I think it's just really going to keep playing even at the next level. And then for Sycamore, got a good look at Tyler Townsend on the mound, 2026. He was up to 88 a few times, really loose, quick arm. Kind of gives me like Ike Young vibes. Just the way it comes out, it's super easy and loose. Flashed a really good breaking ball too, around like 70, 71. And then Kyle Preble, another uncommitted arm for them, uncommitted junior actually. He did it on both sides of the ball. He was 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored. And then he popped on the mound, worked it up to 89. It was showing a pretty firm breaking ball too. It was like 77, 78. So that's, usually an indicator that he's got more in the tank there. They just got some dudes throughout that lineup just that really looked apart, like Davis Colley being one of them. Just some grown men throughout that lineup that I thought was pretty impressive looking.
Sycamore, a program that was in the state championship last year. They are dropping out of our Power 25, still on that bubble watch. And for a squad like Morris making their first appearance in the top 25 at number 18 after a big week, 3-0 week, it's that time of year in high school baseball where the regular season coming down to an end. Teams trying to figure it out to see how they can get downstate. Well, for the whole squad, Tyler, Gavin, Diego, and Pete, I'm Joe Sullivan. So to keep up with our content, make sure to follow us on our social medias for Prep Baseball Illinois. And thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Sully. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.